Now, tonight's adventure into the unknown.
Shut up and sit down.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, a quick evolution of Cullah.
Please.
Gon' hit you with you, tell you my best to the very end. Y'all niggas gon' need some sin, cause I'm out to beat them there. My son gon' wreck you, push you, how you check you, crunch you, wreck you. Bada boom, 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 ow. We not
Simple things, bros go grab it. All the things will never die. What's the story with the people? No better. Simple things, bros go grab it.
save my soul. Let close and don't let go. Save my soul. Let close and don't let go. Everywhere I go, I stroll around into the side. Comfort to you. We ain't got nothing to do with where you are, or where you've been, or where you're going. Lonely spire crawling on the floor. Lonely spire longing for love once more. Oh, is he lost forever? Oh, can he still endeavor? Will he find his treasure? Will he die alone?
Welcome to Sarge Approved. This is the beginning of Music Month.
Yeah, it's Music May.
Yes, and we're starting off the Music Month with an awesome guest, one of our favorite musicians, Cullah. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
How's it going? Thanks for joining us tonight.
It's going great. I'm glad to be here.
I'm
Yay.
Sarge, here with Frenzy,
Yep. What's up?
as usual, and Cullah, Cullah. And yeah, we have been a fan of your music for quite a while now, and we've used your songs in a lot of our episodes because we just absolutely love what you do. You have a very, very unique voice, for one. Because when we started listening to your music, we didn't know what you looked like. We'd never seen a picture of you or anything.
Right.
And you've got one of these, like,
soulful.
Yeah, it's like a bluesy, like, I don't know how you even describe it, but I was thinking I was picturing like some older black dude or something, you know, like some jazz blues kind of guy. Do you get that pretty often? And then we saw, we're like, oh wow, Cullah's a white dude from Wisconsin,
right?
And he's right next door to us. We're coming from Minnesota. And so it's cool. This is probably the closest we've had a guest to our location.
Yeah, I think Frank Roach was the other one, and he was in Detroit.
That's right. Yep, he was in Wisconsin.
He was in Wisconsin.
But, yeah.
Midwest represent?
Yeah. Represent.
I like it.
All right, let's pause a second so that we can hear a word from our sponsor.
Shut up!
Hey, this is Frenzy here to talk to you about National Survival Center. This is the place where you can purchase all of your outdoor camping gear and supplies, survival kits, disaster preparedness supplies, bug out bags, and even survival food. All with some of the lowest prices on the internet and free shipping on almost everything. You can depend on National Survival Center to provide you with the highest quality gear paired with superior customer service. And when you purchase your gear from National Survival Center, you're not only getting a great product, but you're receiving products that have all been hand tested to ensure that they'll be reliable, durable, and that they'll function properly. So whether you need some gear for a family camping adventure, or maybe you want to stock up for the zombie apocalypse, National Survival Center can provide you with the quality products you're looking for. You can find them at www.nationalsurvivalcenter.com or www.survivedon'tsuffer.com. Either way, don't suffer, make sure you survive.
And we're back.
It's podcast magic.
Yeah. All right. So, Cullah, you have just dropped a new album called Calamity.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And you drop a new album every single year on your birthday, correct?
That's correct. As much as I can. Past 11 years, I think 11 for 11. Well, there's a secret album that
What?
Where is that?
a lot of people don't know about.
I need to get my hands on
Really?
this.
Oh, damn. Because
Secret.
So 10 publicly released ones, 11.
11.
I've got, let's see, looking on Spotify, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where's that 10th album?
No, there's 11. He said he has 10 that are released, and an 11th one that's secret.
Yeah. I've only got 9 on Spotify. It's got your new one, though, Calamity.
Yes, I don't think they're all on Spotify. I'm not sure.
Okay.
To everything.
That's this whole time I've been.
It's got every album starting from 2008, starting with King Cullah.
So it
Oh
was.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's one that's not on there. The 2006 Adolescence, is that on there?
Nope, that's
No.
not on there.
Okay.
That's the one I was going to say that's
the one
missing.
then.
Oh, we gotta find
Is
it.
that your
That one was-
is that your picture on that album cover too?
Yep, that's me.
That's awesome.
On which one?
Adolescence, which isn't on
That's pretty
Spotify.
much the picture of what I'd look like at the time when I'm making that music too. So
Yeah, and you were
I mean, that's 11 years ago.
right. So, do you mind telling people how old you are right now?
Yeah, I just turned 26. So.
Right.
Oh my god, I cannot
good.
believe how young you are, dude. You put out your first album when you were what, like 16 or something?
Yeah, the first real album was the one from 2007. That's the hidden one. That's why it's hidden for a reason. You know, there's some stuff on there that are a little embarrassing. You know.
Yeah,
that's why it's the hidden one.
Me and Frenzy have about 7 or 8 episodes that are not open to the public ourselves. We call them the lost episodes.
Yeah, they're the Sarge unapproved episodes. They're bad. No one wants to hear those.
They'll never see the light of day.
No. Mm-mm. Nope. Well, that's awesome. So, does anyone get to hear the hidden album? Because
there's actually, when you go to discography on my page, there's a password you type in and it magically appears.
Oh my god!
So I can give that to you guys after.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
You hear that, listeners? We get to listen to the Lost album. You don't.
Yep, we get the secret
It's
password.
probably for the best.
It's like getting the golden ticket and going into the Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
Yeah, I got a golden ticket.
Yep. I like it.
So where'd the Cullah name come from? I don't know if you wanna let people know what your real name is or not, but I'm curious.
It's on my website.
Oh, is it? What is
my surname is McCullah.
What is it?
McCullah.
Some people pronounce it. We pronounce it McCullah, and I originally called myself MC Cullah.
Right.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty clever at the time, but I switched in 2015. I switched to I dropped the MC. It kind of just felt right, you know, kind of evolving as an artist a little more, dipping my toes into a lot more genres than hip hop and like electronic stuff, which is what I started doing, and kind of taking myself a little more seriously. But I'll always be an MC. A lot of people with Irish surnames, you know, I always say that there's a lot of MCs around, you know. So that's where that name came from. And
your earlier albums, you know, like Kill a Cullah and E equals MC Cullah and stuff like that, those seemed like they were a lot more heavy on kind of would you say maybe like a techno type feel to it? Like
definitely.
Yeah, and then you noticed the evolution in your music, how your music you started to kind of go away from the techno a little bit and into some more soulful stuff and some more like hip hop things in that. It's like one of my favorite albums is it is Be Love Not Fear from 2013. Because probably my all-time favorite song of yours is "Save My Soul."
Yeah,
absolutely love that song.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
It's amazing. Like it's you get all the feels when you listen to it. It's amazing.
Yeah, especially if you have earbuds in and you're listening to it.
Oh yeah, it just gets right inside your brain.
Mm-hmm. So
I think that was a big turning point. That album. That's when I started experimenting with a lot more stuff and started really focusing on trying to explore more vocal and style, you know, techniques and just trying it all out.
Yeah. Well, and your family, or your mom, I guess I should say, kind of has a musical background. She was one of 17 kids.
What?
Mm-hmm. And they were all named Mary, which is like a kind of Irish Catholic tradition. And they were all trained professional musicians.
Wait, all 17 kids were
they
named
toured
Mary?
around in big band jazz and like rock and roll stuff, and
that's awesome.
They formed a band. They all went to private Catholic schools. So to pay for that, I guess my grandfather thought it was a good idea to do that.
Yeah, have them make some music.
So
it's a different time. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what it's like. It was pretty. I mean, they would grow their own food most of the time. Try to do subsistence as much. My mom has told me stories about how they go hunting just for rabbits and stuff, just to eat some, just to get enough food around.
Yeah,
it was pretty wild.
Yeah, that is
crazy. I wouldn't recommend it.
That's awesome.
No, I wouldn't either.
So you have 7. Are they all women? 17 aunts?
Yeah, they're all named Mary. No,
there's 11 women, and they're all named Mary.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the first,
17
the
kids.
eldest who goes by Mary, everyone else goes by their middle name.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, that had to cause some confusion in the household. Mary and like 11 girls come running. What, Dad?
Yeah, well, my grandpa's story a lot of it inspired me. He's a poet as well, and he was a musician. And he was raised by gypsies essentially. His parents he's had like half Austrian, half Irish, and when the Great Depression went around, they basically he never saw most of his family ever again. They went to an orphanage, which was run by the Catholic Church at the time. This was during the Great Depression, and he told a lot of stories of some crazy stories about how he lived before the orphanage and during the orphanage, and essentially some Jesuits came, which is like an order of Catholic priests, and they came and basically said whoever wants to become a priest, you get an education. So he saw that as basically God, give him a way out of the orphanage, and so he went and he was going to become a priest. And then, I like to joke that as soon as he found out that he has to be celibate, he basically met my grandma and then popped out 17 of them.
Yeah, that was a deal breaker.
He's like, I almost made this big mistake of being celibate, and so now I'm going to have as many kids as I can.
Yeah,
so overcompensated.
The world would not have gotten Cullah if he had decided to be a priest.
Yeah. Well, you started playing the piano at an early age, right? Like 4?
Yeah, my mom's part of her upbringing was like everyone learned the piano first. Like it's the fundamental instrument to understand the theory, to visualize, the symmetry of the music, and to visualize all the notes on the staves and stuff. And I wanted to do it because all my older brothers. I'm one of 6, so I'm the middle one, but I saw my older sister and older brother and stuff doing the piano, and I wanted to do it really because I felt left out, not particularly because like I was so enthralled by the music at 4.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's when I started doing it, and then I started to get my hands dirty with it, and then I didn't really start to really understand like how much I really liked doing it until probably a little later, like more like when I was like maybe 9 or 10. I'm sure there's some scientific understanding of brain development that deals with that, but that's basically, I started the piano, and I was in school band. I wasn't particularly like really that great at anything, but I just really loved it, and I would whenever I would have a song, I wouldn't really like playing the songs as much. Some songs I really liked, and I would play over and over and over and memorize them as much as I could. But most of the time, I'd have a song, I would just like take it and then turn it into something new that I like doing. I always like creating more than reciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, you get to actually feel some ownership with the music.
Yeah,
when you create it yourself.
Ownership.
I played saxophone. My mom had played the tenor sax and the clarinet in the band, and I played the alto in like the school band. And it was, I don't know if you've ever been to I went to Catholic grade school too, and I don't know
So
if you've
did
ever been to
I.
a small.
I did too.
Yeah,
how many kids were in your
like
class?
20 kids in my class.
Yeah, I had like I remember 6th grade. I think we had like 16, and then or maybe it was before that. And then when I was in 6th grade, our school merged with another school in Minneapolis and became one school because they both had like hardly any kids going to them. Right. And they ended up getting the land was bought by the Minneapolis airport, so they closed. But even then, when we merged together, we had like 23 kids.
Yeah, slim pickings for the band, and the people that were there. I just remember just some of them. I mean, even now, I have a little sister who's in the band and going to some of those. It's just brutal, man. Like, God bless all the kids that are doing it, but it's just brutal.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At one time, I remember I was up there, and the whole band lost their place.
Oh,
and the band leader was trying to get everyone to get back in, and there was silence for like probably a whole solid minute. And
oh no!
Awkward.
So I'm like, oh well, I'm the first chair out of 2 people, so I'm gonna try and get back into it. And so I just started playing, and then everyone just ended up coming on where I was at. But the band director there was actually awesome. He sold me my first guitar, which I still have. It's my favorite, one of my prized possessions. So
Nice.
Stratocaster.
Nice.
Basically springboarded me into being able to do so much of, using the guitar as one of the primary instruments.
Yeah.
So he kind of introduced you to it. Because did they have the guitar as an option in school to play? Probably not.
Yeah, you never seen anyone play guitar.
It was his son was buying a new one or something, and he mentioned it or he said something, and I was like, oh, like that sounds awesome. And then he gave me an amazing deal. Like the guitar was like worth over $1,000, and I think he gave it to me for like $200.
Nice.
And it was just such a good guy.
Yeah.
So how come school bands don't have a guitar player? That's weird. I never thought about that. You never see a guitar in a school band.
I don't know.
Yeah, usually they stick to like I see a lot of guitar in high school bands and stuff. I think it depends on the size. Usually,
yeah,
there are some kids. It's usually just, it's easier to get. Everyone wants to do the classical stuff where they're doing the wind and brass. And stuff. And I'm not sure. Yeah, you do see that less. I think it's more of like a rebel instrument. You don't want to be playing the guitar in the band with a bunch of squares. You want to be out, unless it's jazz guitar. Which I've seen in my high school and other high schools, and a lot of those people can just really, really rock.
Yeah, I've never seen a guitar in a school band. The 2 best instruments, I think, are piano and guitar. Those are the 2 instruments that you can do just so much with. Screw all the other instruments.
Drums are pretty sweet too.
Yeah, that's true. Drums. What instruments are you, fluent with?
I'd say the guitar and piano and my voice are probably the top 3. I think voice and then guitar and then piano. Even though I started piano first, I didn't really practice as much. My teacher, God bless her, she was like 80 or something, and she would just go through the motions. I didn't really learn the theory and stuff, and I kind of always resented that a little bit. And so I can play the piano, and I understand it, and I have some formal training. I just finished my master's degree over in Dublin, Ireland, and really learned a lot over there about it, which has helped me tremendously.
In Ireland?
I lived over in Ireland for like 15 months or so last year.
Very cool.
I also play, like there's a song in the last album with the mandolin, The Lonely Spider. Mm-hmm. I just picked that up. I have a bunch of instruments here. I mean, if you can play the guitar, you can pretty much play the bass. In terms of like knowing where the notes are, because the first 4 strings of the guitar are the same 4 strings as the bass. So they're all the same in terms of fingering, but technique is much different on the bass. But so I could do that. I mean, those are pretty much all I've been able to get away with. Like I like to think that I always like to say like I'm not particularly really fluent or like an expert in any of the instruments, but I'm good enough to be able to compose on it. It's more like I'm more of a songwriter than like a virtuoso or like try to get deep into the techniques and stuff. Like I think over the years I've gotten better, of course. As I play and as I learn more. But I think those are the main ones. Piano, guitar, like you said. That like I have a drum set. I'm trying to be able to learn more about that.
Very cool.
Some drums in some of your songs.
Yeah.
So you
the Heaven's Garden, my last album, that was my drum set.
Oh, nice.
Lonely Spider had a couple
drums.
And
okay.
Beautiful. So you so when you're
it's a good instrument to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're creating a song, how much is it all you, or do you have other people that help you actually make the music? And because is there a lot of it that's done on computer, or is it just all straight instruments in your voice?
It varies from album to album. I think the first time I really collaborated with people was 2014 culinary school, the song Blazing Day, which I played it, and my friend I met in college, and my cousin played the bass on there, and my friend just picked around, started strumming some rhythms and stuff, and actually helped me write a line or two, and basically wrote the chorus in that part too. But I'd say probably like 90% of 95% probably of everything has just been me. I've always been been able to just do it all myself. I like to have it and have the creative control on this stuff. It's just been nice and comfortable. But one of the things I've been trying to do as recently is trying to expand out a lot more, to collaborate more, because it brings so many new elements to it. And I love playing with people that are really great, and it just makes it just brings it to a whole other level when you work with other people. You add another voice to it, and that can be really useful.
Yeah.
The new album is much more unplugged. And same like we were saying with Be Love Not Fear, the 2013. That was just a pure raw emotion album, and exploring that.
Yeah.
That's probably what I try to focus on more. Is like not necessarily who's there, what's going on, but the songwriting and the emotion behind it, and if it's honest. That's if it's honest, if a person's coming from an honest perspective, if you write it, you can have 30 people write a song, and if it can be totally honest, or it can be a total failure if people aren't being honest about it. People can tell, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely they can.
Yeah, like
they can feel the heart in it, I feel like.
Yeah, like I don't get that feeling when I listen to "Hit Me Baby One More Time" by Britney Spears.
No.
Yeah, she's really bringing it all on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this "Save My Soul" song, what are the origins of that? Like, where did you get the idea for that song? Where, what's it about?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with heartbreak and new love. I just met a girl at the time. I think that's really about her, and my experience with basically first love, essentially.
Did she break your heart, dude? Did she break your heart?
Solid, something. Well, that's what this new album is.
It's amazing what women can get a man to do. You can write a whole album or a whole song about their effect on you.
Well, that's what a lot of music is about. Yeah, that's what a lot of music is about, but sometimes it's not genuine or, like you said, real or honest.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always something that it doesn't feel is when you find out that a really hit song or something wasn't even written by the artist. There was somebody else that wrote it, and then the musician is just singing it. It takes something away from it. It definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. So you've got both of the spectrums.
It can be good, but I think that more often than not, it's more difficult to be able to do that. Like. It's especially nowadays. It's a little like back in the day. You see these big hits and these amazing songs, and they were written by some of these same people. But it was a different industry back then. So some of these people, the singers would be the people would write it for the singer, or they would write it, and the singer would take it and create something new out of it. And it's hard to do that. You have to be an exceptional talent, I think, to be able to do that. Otherwise it's just kind of glorified karaoke.
Yeah. Exactly. So let me ask you this: who is your do you have an all-time favorite artist or band?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I don't think there's an all-time, but whenever I get that question, or whenever I think about it, I always kind of go back to something that I can feel comfortable. I feel comfortable saying that probably one of the artists that have had the most influence on me, and maybe was what you're alluding to, like the voice and stuff, is Ray Charles. Like Ray Charles, hearing his music for the first time, and then delving into his discography and understanding the arc of him, his life, and his voice, and just him as a songwriter too. It blows me away. I think that the blues, just in particular, has been one of the biggest influences, and Ray Charles is one I can always point to and say, yeah, that I can be comfortable with putting him in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I love when you have a song that has like a mix of that blues style to it and a little bit of like hip hop in there too. I love when those two come together, and you do it so well.
Yeah, and it's not something that if you were to think about it that you would think, oh, those two would go together, but as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and
hip hop is like a universal language, just like the blues thing. The hip hop essentially is you can take anything and if you just put a drum break behind it, you essentially got hip hop. You put the rhythm and you have the right syncopation, and you have, if you have some sort of honest storytelling and messaging, and you put it to a certain style. You use hip hop all over the world. Like you can take a didgeridoo and you can put a hip hop beat behind it, and it'll sound awesome. Or you can have an awesome blues lick, or you can put anything behind it, and it'll bang. Because it's that the rhythm. The rhythm is the messenger. And hip hop. I always think it's the universal language, like music. It's the zeitgeist of today. I mean, you can go in any country in the world, and there's hip hop and rappers everywhere. It's just amazing, and they introduce their own indigenous instruments. Like there's there's the guy Residente from Puerto Rico who's like an amazing artist. I think he's won he's almost a record-breaking amount of Grammys, Latin Grammys and stuff. And then there's this other girl, and her name is I always have a hard time pronouncing it. But I first heard her on an episode of Breaking Bad.
Really?
And I always have a hard time pronouncing the name.
What does she sing?
There was this song. It's called 1977. I can hear the song in my head, and because of the name, I could never hear it in my head because I can never pronounce it. But it's there's a lot of examples of indigenous instruments and hip hop and stuff, and that really fascinates me.
Yeah, who I would love to see Cullah collaborate with?
Who?
Caleb Lamont.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that already today.
That would be a cool.
You guys would
duo.
be awesome together.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Caleb Lamont?
No, I haven't.
You should check out his music. Another white dude who does not sound like a white dude, but very, very talented, and he does a lot of hip hop, but a lot of his music has a very soulful tone to it as well. The chorus and everything is very soulful and just catches your ear. But he's raps in it too, and he always has a really good message in his music, and a real positive guy.
We found him on FMA too, and have used some of his music as well. He's another one of our favorites, and he's going to be on the show in a couple weeks. But I'll message you his name and stuff so you can look him up and listen to some stuff.
Yeah, I think if I were to recommend any
He's
song...
not from the Midwest, too, is he?
He's from... Where the heck is he from? I don't think it's the Midwest.
I don't know. I should know that.
Blanking on that. But
Let me see.
God, I want to say Ohio or something. I'm not sure though. But if I had to recommend any song for you, if you look him up and listen to one of his songs, is what's that one? Life Taught Me.
Yeah, that one's a good one. He's in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, okay.
Yep. Okay. But if you just go to Caleb Lamond, it's LEMOND.com. He's got a website and stuff, and he's got his music and stuff on there. But yeah, I
think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll write that down here, yeah.
But he's not... I don't think he's on Spotify or anything.
No, I know he's got some stuff on YouTube, and I know I'm on his website right now.
If you go on FMA, you can find him. But yeah, Life Taught Me is probably one of my favorite songs that he's got.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that crossover, I mean, it's interesting, and the genres nowadays just blend so much, especially with the internet coming around. I grew up being able to have access to so much. I mean, there was Napster and LimeWire and Kazaa, when I was growing up, and torrents and stuff when I was able to do that. And part of the reason why I release all my music for free is just there's so much out there, and part of the reason why I want to continue to keep doing an album every year is just because it's kind of like a quantity game too. To if someone's not going to listen to one, they might listen to the other, and they might listen to the other. like there's just so many genres flying everywhere, and that like everything blends. Like maybe people's musical genres were a little more decoupled, you know. Before the internet, there was, you know, people were into one style of music, or people were in another style, or there would be some crossover. But there's never been just so much being able to be accessed at once. It's like you can dive. It's like you have, you know, the biggest record store in the world, you know, just at your fingertips. So the ability to hear all these different styles and genres, and it kind of makes sense that naturally that artists would start to blend these together, you know, like as hip hop becomes introduced and the internet comes around, there's no reason that you can't have folk hip hop or blues hip hop or you know,
or the
heavy
country
metal,
hip hop.
like, you know,
They call it
right.
hick hop.
Hick hop, yeah.
Hick hop.
Hick hop. I like it. So I did read that you got into trouble for some hacking. What's that about?
Yeah, that
Did it have to do with...
honestly, I was more afraid of something else. I thought they brought me in for a little more heinous, but basically, my dad's a computer science guy. He kind of introduced me to computers, and I had a good friend who was also, and his dad was also a programmer and stuff, and so we kind of grew up coding and challenging each other and learning how to do it, you know, fantasizing about hackers and stuff. You know, there's this really cool culture and this really cool underground, you know, rebel type spirit and stuff. And so we really, you know, we really enjoyed that. And we weren't, as they say, we were basically script kiddies, which is like, you know, it's just basically posers for hackers. You just copy and paste stuff and you call yourself a hacker.
A script? What is it called? A script
especially
kiddie?
Talented or anything. Script kiddie.
Script kiddie.
It's a
Okay.
pejorative for like noobs, basically.
Okay.
And so basically, they put at my high school, they put in this protection, so we couldn't download our own programs and open up our own programs. And we're in computer science class, you know, and we want to start. We were trying to, you know, be able to do whatever we want after we finished our projects and stuff. And it was just one of the most annoying things. So it wasn't out of malice or anything. We just started opening these program stuff. But that's not what really got us in trouble. What got us in trouble was basically the neglect and the incompetence of the administration at the time. We basically were able to log into our teachers' computers, and it wasn't because we had some backdoor or you know, we wrote some program to do it. We literally double clicked. You know, they opened up. They had opened up all these teachers' computers for, I'm assuming, whoever was in our class. The permissions were such that we were able to just double click and open into it. And so, you know, of course, if we're these, you know, we were very curious, and we went in there, and I think they probably, I don't know how they found out. I don't think they really found out. We were at the library one time, in the school library, and we were just messing around and being really loud and boisterous, and we had wrote a program to make the screens go crazy, and we were just being goofy, you know, teenagers and stuff. I think the librarian saw us and probably ratted on us and thought that we were doing something suspicious, and then they probably looked into it and was like, wait, what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
But
so you're not.
So they ended up bringing us in, and luckily, I you know, from my friend describes it, he was sick that day when we were supposed to be brought in. He says it's a good thing because, you know, I was terrified. They started interrogating me, treating me as a criminal, you know, like threatening me with expulsion and all this, you know, just by myself. I'm like 14, 15. Like, you know, at the time, I wish I was, like, you know, I want to see my lawyer type thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
And they essentially, you know, charged us money and suspended us.
What?
For circumventing. And so then they ended up getting us on this idea that we were circumventing their, you know, the protections, because we could open up programs. All we had to do was go to Word and make a link to a program, and then Microsoft Word would open up the program, not us, because Microsoft Word had the permission to do it. So it wasn't even anything glorious or anything. It in retrospect, the whole thing was embarrassing on there, and I think that's why they were so afraid, because they had no idea what they were doing.
So you're not
They were
only
terrified that we did something.
you're not only a very talented musician, but you're also a member of Anonymous.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Don't talk about it.
Right?
Oh, that's funny. So, and you're from Wisconsin. Are you a football fan, or are you a Packer fan? I need to know this.
Yeah, I'm a Packer fan.
All right, we're gonna end this episode now.
We gotta go.
The show is over.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I like our rivalry. I think the Packer Viking rivalry is one of the best in the NFL.
It's got to be. At least we think so,
Yeah,
right?
Well, we think so.
It's a healthy one, too.
Yeah.
We have a rivalry with the Bears, too, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
The Chicago people, especially now when they're like at the lowest they've been in forever, like they're just more bitter than they've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
And so we like to rub it in, But at least with the Vikings, there's some real competition, and I think it's a more healthy. Plus, I think people from Minnesota and Wisconsin are a little friendlier and nicer than people in Illinois. I mean, that's just, we grew up with this term, fib, which is fucking Illinois bastard.
Oh.
And it was just, it's just like that's, I grew up like, the first time I heard that I was like 10. It's just like common
It's just
knowledge,
normal.
It's basically Chicago. That's like, you have big city and stuff, so people tend to be, more rushed and a little more, irritable and stuff. Whereas in Minnesota, maybe in Wisconsin, there's a lot more room to breathe.
Yes.
And it's a lot colder, which I think gives people a little more sense of humility.
Yes.
People take their time a little more.
Yeah, you do not have a real true sense of your character unless you've grown up in a state that has all four seasons, the predominant one being winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal up there, man. That's what we say down here. It's like, well, it's 20 below zero, but at least it's not 30 like up in Minnesota.
I know.
I saw some videos. There was one storm of people. They'd go outside and they'd pee. They were peeing outside, and their piss would just turn into vapor and a cloud.
You think that's real?
Float away.
You think that's real?
Yeah, I think it's real. I wanted to try
I've seen buckets of water. Buckets of water.
Yeah,
I've seen too.
I wanted to try that, and I didn't think about it until winter was almost over this year. But I wanted to throw a bowl or bucket of like boiling water outside and see if it would turn to like basically snow dust, because I've seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen videos of people throwing hot water out a window, and
it's cold enough up there.
Yeah.
So crazy. Yeah, I remember. I'm from up north near the Bemidji area. I remember a few years back, I went up north for Christmas, and the thermometer on the bank, how they have the time and the temperature and stuff, it was God, what was it, 30 or 40 below zero.
Yeah, and that's without the wind chill.
Below zero.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then you talk about wind chill to people that have never experienced winter, and they're like, "What's that?
What's a wind chill?
What's a wind chill?"
I'm from San Diego. What is that?
What is that? I remember when I was like in high school, we ended up getting 2 days off of school in a row because the wind chill got down to 65 degrees, negative 65, and they were like, it wasn't safe for people to go outside, because your skin would like freeze off in a second. It's insane.
Yeah, then they can't do it, right? Anything warmer, it's okay, but that's the cutoff.
I don't think we ever missed any school when I was growing up. I grew up north, where it's at least 10 degrees colder at any given time than it is down here in the Twin Cities. But I don't remember ever having school off because it was too cold. They're like, just go to school.
Yeah.
Can't tell how cold it is.
Yeah.
But we would get school off. Yeah. Well, we would get school off every year. We'd get like a day or two off every time deer hunting season rolled around.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You are such rednecks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they knew that if they didn't give the students the day off, they just weren't going to show up anyways.
That's funny.
Everybody deer hunts. So we got like 1 or 2 days off every when deer openers started.
Wow.
I don't think too many schools have that.
No, I never heard of that before. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah.
But we were like driving snowmobiles and four-wheelers to school.
I'm surprised they don't do it for fishing opener. I mean, deer hunting season's a big deal, but with all the the fishermen and women we have in this state.
When is fishing opener? That's in the summer, though.
It's May. It's May.
Oh, okay.
It's always the weekend of Mother's Day.
Okay. So yeah, it's not during the week though.
No, it's on a weekend, but you could still have Monday off.
But if deer season opener would start like
on a Thursday
or something, so they'd be like, all right, just don't. You guys have the days off because you know you ain't showing up anyways.
Oh, jeez, that's funny.
We're a little too far south for that, but our science teachers would always tell people to tell the butcher to bring the heart back so we can use it in science class.
Oh yeah, and plus bring me a little venison snack stick too while you're at it.
Oh man, I had some. My mom just made some venison tacos yesterday. It was amazing.
Nice.
Oh, I've never had venison tacos.
I'm a huge fan of cheese curds, and Wisconsin has, as far as I'm concerned, and it's not like, for those that are listening who don't know what a cheese curd is, it's not the kind that's breaded and deep fried. I mean, those are amazing too, but the real legit cheese curds that you just buy as cheese, and they squeak in your teeth when you bite into them.
Yeah, yup, that's right. I forgot about those.
Ellsworth supposedly has the best ones.
I don't know which ones I like better. I think I might like the deep fried ones better.
Yeah, I like both.
Is that blasphemous for me to say that?
No, not at
all. For those of you who don't know,
sriracha ranch sauce.
Yeah.
Cheese was invented in Wisconsin.
It was not.
Probably.
That or maybe Vermont. Vermont does a lot of cheese.
Yeah, we don't even call you guys bad names like fucking Illinois bastards. We just call you guys cheeseheads.
Yeah, cheeseheads.
It definitely is a nicer rivalry.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Well, the Bears have. If you've ever seen those people, the Bears fans, they always have cheese graters on their head.
Oh, do they?
They do? I've never noticed that before.
Yeah.
What do you guys call us?
I give them props for that.
That is pretty clever, actually.
Do you guys have any moniker that you refer to us Minnesotans as?
I don't think so.
No.
As far as I know, it's like, other than just the football rivalry, like, I think most of the people that I know, like, it's pretty friendly.
Yeah, we all get along besides football season.
Winona and Eau Claire. Like, I went to the Eau Claire Fest a series back, and there's these great T-shirts that had Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then they had faces on them, and they were like hugging. And I was like, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Well, that's cute.
Everybody take a shot. Frenzy said, aw. It's a Sarge approved drinking game. Every time Frenzy says, aw, you gotta take a shot.
Yeah, I usually say it at least once. I'm kind of cheesy. That's okay. It's fine.
So you're spinning well over here.
Okay, good.
He just dropped this new album, Calamity. Wait, no, was it Calamity? Let me pull it up here.
Yep.
Yeah, Calamity. Calamity.
How long does it take you? I mean, are you going all year preparing this album before you drop it on your birthday? How long does a process like that take? In general, kind of.
Yeah. More or less. I usually give myself a few months to just like decompress.
Yeah,
but
take a break.
Sometimes when I finish the album, I'm still going hard because like I kind of have a last, the sprint at the end where I'm just such in the zone that I'll have all these songs and I'll end up writing more that end up on the next album. But this one was I wanted to get it how it was, and I spent most of the time at the end. Like I actually had a proper mastering job done on this. With most of my other albums, I just mastered them myself. Just like people don't know, that's just the last step in releasing an album for getting it ready for distribution. Is you have the composition, the production, and then you mix it, which is like the levels and the panning, and then you master it, which is essentially just get it loud, give the average loudness enough where it's not going to be super quiet at parts or super loud at other parts, and that it'll work well on, it could be on the nicest speakers in the world and sound great, or it can be in your car speaker or on your phone or whatever, and it'll still sound good on that. So this one I actually sent to a person here in Milwaukee to do that. So I was forced me to finish it a little earlier, which kind of changed the process a little more, which I kind of liked a little bit. But it usually takes. I mean, I do it every year, so I have a year to do it, so it kind of ebbs and flows with how I'm feeling and what's just going on. And usually I can, sometimes I can write a song in a couple of hours and just have it done, or sometimes it takes a whole year to work through it.
Right.
Depending on the song.
Does it seem so? Do you, when you're writing a song, Is your process? Do you write your lyrics first and then tailor the music to the lyrics, or vice versa, or how do you go about that process?
It's the lyrics usually come after. I usually try to find the melodies and the rhythms and stuff first. Occasionally I'll have maybe poems or old lyrics that I wrote that I end up, trying to have something around it, but that's very rarely. It's mostly around the melodies. Yeah. I have a melody or something I've been working on, or usually, in art, in music, from my understanding, there's the quote by Picasso: "Good artists copy and great artists steal." And that's just essentially what music has been. It's just reusing chord progressions and things over and over, and they become standards. Like there's a lot of old hymn style songs on this last album. I've been listening to a lot of Stanley Brothers. I don't know if you've heard of the Stanley Brothers, but I recommend listening to them. They're absolutely amazing. These old bluegrass hymns, which is, the "I'll Fly Away" too, that you know that song, or "You Are My Sunshine." Those are old hymn songs. So it's you can't really go wrong with those things. So it's essentially just it's a mixed bag. Essentially, I try not to think too much about it, to be honest. I try to just let it happen, and try to get in the zone. And if something works, usually I'll just experiment with something, like try a new instrument. It's usually around sounds or melodies. And then once I can get a good sound or a good melody, then I usually go from there. Right.
So Stanley Brothers, they were an American bluegrass duo from obviously he was born in 1927, but when were they around playing music?
I think they're pretty much their whole life, and then Ralph Stanley just died recently. He's really old, obviously, but people might know them from, which is it's the first time I heard them, from the "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" soundtrack.
Oh, they were on that.
Soundtrack.
Okay, that's
so,
cool.
That "Man of Constant Sorrow" song is an adaptation of one of their songs.
Yeah.
That they wrote, and then there's the song "Oh Death," which is a great one, and "Angel Band." So Angel Band is basically the inspiration for a couple of songs on my just the progression and the style of the song, the symmetry of it. So,
yeah.
But
very cool. There's a band that
it comes from a lot.
Yeah. I know. I love discovering new bands and listening to music, and every time I do, I always tell everyone I know about it, because I've always been a huge fan of music. My dad always had the radio on in the car when I was young, and I'm not musically inclined at all, but I really enjoy. I have music on all the time in my house and whatever I'm doing. There's another band you should check out or maybe you've heard of them, called the Dead South. And they're kind of like a banjo bluegrass, but they have like a mandolin and the cello, guitar. They kind of do some hoot and holler, and they're pretty. There's a couple songs that are just
oh yeah,
they remind me of yours, where they just make my insides feel happy and oh, this song is awesome.
Yeah, it's like listening to a hug.
Yes, exactly. And they're doing a huge tour in Europe right now, all over Germany and a bunch of other places. But
yeah. They've got that song. We just found out about them. What's it called? "In Hell, I'll Be in Good Company."
Yeah, it's good.
It's extremely catchy, and it's got that bluegrassy, banjo type twang to it.
Yeah, and they're relatively new. They have 3 albums, and they started I think they started in 2012. So
rookies, they don't got 11 albums like
right?
Cullah over here.
10 and a secret one.
Cullah dropping albums at the tender age of 15 and shit.
I know, that's awesome.
You're an overachiever, my friend.
It's a lot harder to do that with a whole band.
Yeah,
and especially if you're acoustic instruments.
Yeah.
If you look, like you said, the progression of all the albums, I started just all electronic. Instrumental electronic, where you just program it in, and it slowly gets more and more complicated. It's expensive too.
I'm sure.
And you need the space,
but it's cool because you kind of get to chronicle your life and with your albums and have those forever. And someday when you get married, maybe they can listen to it, and your kids will have that. And if you want kids, I guess I don't know if you do, but your family and stuff, friends, it's pretty cool to have all that history of you
Yeah, you should have like
Yeah,
18 kids. You should have like 18 kids, so you can be like, "What's up,
So
And
my
What's up,
grandpa.
Grandpa?
Yeah, and name them all Steve.
Beat you."
Boy and girl.
Yeah. So do you do most of your music at home? Do you have like your own studio set up, or do you have to go to do you have a studio that you go to?
I take what I can get really from year to year because you just move from here, and I've been kind of just been in academia for the past. There was a year I took off, 2015. I took off and had a house I lived in with a nice carpeted basement with wood, low ceilings and wood paneling. It was just awesome. But yeah, growing up, it was all in my parents' basement or in my dorm room. Like, you'd be surprised some of these songs, like, we're just in a tiny, tiny dorm room, like, recording it in there. It's just whatever I can get. This last album, my dad just bought some land up north in Athens, Wisconsin, a deer hunting shack, actually. And so I've been going up there because it's just dead silent, other than the occasional scream of a cow being milked on the street. But it's not loud enough to make it into the recordings. But
they scream when you milk them?
That was, well, when you have giant machines hooked up to them.
Yeah, they don't like that.
This is like there's a big operation here, where it's pretty much a factory farm with this dairy cows. Yeah. A huge one. And I thought, I was like, what is that? What, like, are those dogs? What is that? And I'm like, oh wait, that's my cows.
It's coyotes.
Thought, well, man, are they just like sick? Or are they upset? And then I mentioned it to someone up there, and they're like, no, they're being milked. Like, this is like, it is screams. They could say, oh, it's just the noise they make, but I mean,
yeah, that
painful.
Yeah, that's sad.
Poor cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should bust them cows out.
Yeah, let's go free them.
Let's jailbreak those poor cows.
How do you think those cheese curds give me? No, yeah, you can have cheese curds without.
Yeah, you can have screamless cheese curds.
Yeah, conflict-free cheese curds.
Advertising that.
Yeah, our cheese curds don't scream. Oh,
they just squeak in your mouth.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about how the squeaking happens, because I've done a couple like road trips or girls' weekends over in Wisconsin, and I always stop, like, because they have always have like little cheese shops on the way. You can stop and sample some stuff, and I've bought in them some places, and they do not squeak, and I always get disappointed. I mean, I still eat them, but I don't know why the squeaking happens.
It's water.
You think it's water?
Air.
Air?
Yeah,
I'm gonna see.
The curds has a bunch of air in them. That's what I was told.
Frenzy's looking it up right now.
That's what I think. Like, if it's fresh, that's what people say. If it's fresh, it squeaks. And I don't know if it's over time. Maybe they start to settle, and then the air in between starts to escape, or I don't know.
Yeah, fresh cheese curds squeak against the teeth when bitten into, a defining characteristic due to air trapped inside the porous material. So then, I guess if they're older, then the air gets out and they don't squeak. So if you bite into a cheese curd and it doesn't squeak, it's old.
Yeah.
It's not fresh.
You're welcome, listeners.
Which might not be bad. I don't know. It depends. Because I've had cheese curds that don't squeak, and
they're still good.
They've been pretty good. But.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just call that aged cheese curds.
Aged.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. That's funny.
This isn't moldy. This is aged.
This is aged.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's classier referring to it that way.
Well, they are classy no matter what.
So every year, you put out an album on your birthday, and you put it out absolutely free to the world. Mm-hmm. That's pretty amazing. You don't hear about too many people that do something like that. Most people are trying to make a bunch of money off their music.
Yeah, I don't know, because I first started doing it. I was going into software and computer engineering, and that's part of the reason why I released for free. And actually, there's a nuance there too. Like, I don't just release it for free, but I also release it open source. So like I release the stems of every song. So like, I haven't put up the new album yet, but you can go and you can download the stems to each song, and you can listen to each track individually. Like, the drums is separate from the vocals, is separate from So I also release all of the source sounds to it, and it's all released under the same Creative Commons license. And I mean that comes from growing up in why I use the term open source is just like this, I don't know if listeners are familiar with open source, but it's essentially where collaborative. It started in programming, and like Linux is a prime example of an open source project where basically everything's released open to the public, so people can collaborate on it and build on it, and it's kind of this transparent community that flourishes from it. So I kind of grew up with that being like those are the right principles and ethics that I've tried to go towards. So I that's part of why I released for free, but part of it was too like it was just a hobby for me, and I just kind of liked people like if they liked it. At first I did it, and I'm like, I wonder if people like it, and then I got some response. I'm like, hey, people actually, maybe there's something here. And so then I just thought that it was a good platform and build off, and I wouldn't have been able to do that, if I went straight off the bat trying to use it to make it my living. But I've gotten to the point now where, because I have this whole repertoire of music already made, I can kind of start to build on that and actually have something to springboard off of.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what you were mentioning before about releasing it every year and chronicling it and looking back on it as old, I do think about stuff like that. And part of what motivates me, just as a person, not necessarily even an artist, but is to have some sort of legacy. Maybe it comes from my grandfather having a bunch of kids, and I'm just deciding to make albums instead. Maybe it's a little cheaper, but and a little less.
A lot less work too. Yeah.
Yeah, you just.
But I would like to, think what separates me from everyone else. What would make something special? What's something that no one's ever done before? And having something every year, I'm trying to do that until I can't anymore. Or if I can't release a whole album with 10 songs, or last year was 6 because it was just a lot busier. If I can't release, a full album, at least release something, a song, or or an EP or something, and having that chronicle my life. And yeah, it's like you said, if I could look back at that when I'm 70 and I have 60 albums, that's kind of something that I could think and say hey, that's something special
that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I can feel proud of that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you have these big name artists who have entire teams helping them make their music and people writing their songs for them. They still don't put out an album every year.
Right. It's a whole new world now. With the internet and people are being able to with the tech. It's not necessarily just the internet, but I guess they call it, the term is democratization of sound and technology. I have access on just my laptop, some of these processes and technologies that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and whole rooms filled with all this equipment, and you'd need a whole team of engineers, and you need all these people working behind it. You think about all the Beatles records and stuff, and how much work and money and how many people were involved in that and stuff, and they were able to do it like that. But now, especially with electronic music and stuff being so popular, people can just do it on their laptops. I think there was I forget which artist it was. I think it was Kendrick Lamar. It was his huge name right now. One of his producers wrote one of the songs on his cell phone.
Really?
Just looped it on, recorded it. Yeah, it's a totally different world now with technology. So, it's totally disrupting. I think I always looked at it. I could both the best worlds. I don't think that maybe part of why I'm going into more analog and more this last album and that 2013 album. I've always loved the blues, and the blues is just a guy and a guitar usually. That's it. There's no fancy studio work or anything. Some of the best, Robert Johnson, one of the greatest of all time, they cut it. He was just in someone's room on this super old. Luckily, they had this technology to record the sound, but those recordings, created empires of sound. It's incredible. One of the people that I looked up to, when I was a kid, I would listen to some of the pop music at the time. I remember listening to Linkin Park and Nickelback and stuff. And I didn't really know like I would listen to the music that my dad, you know, it's like Queen and the Beatles and all the classic rock and stuff. You know, I knew all that stuff, but my schoolmates and stuff were listening to these, you know, kind of pop rock stuff at the time. And then I remember hearing White Stripes' Seven Nation Army on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I heard it, I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, that's amazing. And then they said, oh, this is the White Stripes. And I went online. The first album I ever bought was the White Stripes' first album that they wrote and recorded. You know, and I just started to become obsessed with Jack White and hitting his understanding. He's probably up there too. And you just mentioned Ray Charles earlier, but his whole thing was about simplicity too, which comes from that origins of the blues and the simplicity and that whole idea of simplicity and elegance of simplicity. That really struck a chord with me. It's like, hey, wait, I can make good music and I don't have to have all these things. I can just be simple. And I mean and then that confirms some of the things. Like I hear that in like computer science background. They say, you know, less is more. That if you have a smaller amount of code that achieves the same amount of thing, that's a better solution. So why wouldn't the same thing be for music? I mean, that's what I've been trying to explore.
And there's got to be a level of pride that you can have doing it that way, where you know you don't have to be in some big studio in some big production, that you have complete control over it, and you're doing it in a very simple way. You're not, you know, breaking the bank trying to produce this elaborate setup. You're doing it all on your own, and there's got to be some level of pride with that, because I know we get a level of pride with the way we do our show, you know, with the podcast here.
Absolutely.
We don't spend millions of dollars on equipment and having the best state of the art equipment to do this, but we have good audio, we got good content, but we do it in a simple way, and it's all just and we have a complete control over it, and that's one of the most beautiful things, is not having somebody else's dirty little fingers in the production.
Yeah. Totally. Hey, 1 second. So going back to Jack White, did you know that he's releasing a documentary and he's doing the soundtrack for it? Did you hear about this?
I heard murmurs about something, but no, I didn't hear that specific detail. I'm glad he's done so much for.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
It's a 3-part documentary, and it's produced by him and then Robert Redford and one other person, right. But it basically explores like the history of the 20s and when record companies like traveled across the country with the first electrical recording rig in search of new artists. And there's a ton of artists that are involved in it, like Alabama Shakes, like tons. Merle Haggard, like I'm just reading it online. There's a ton of them. Willie Nelson, Jack White, obviously, a bunch of them. So you should probably check that out. I think you would like that.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's out already? Or
it's being released it airs next month, and I'm not sure where it's going to air. If it's going to be on Netflix or where it's going to be. But if you go to YouTube and search, it's going to be on PBS, which is even better. Yes. If you just YouTube American Epic, there's a preview for it, and then he does.
No props to that guy.
Yeah, and he's doing all the soundtrack stuff for it too.
Another Midwesterner.
Yeah. And I remember when the White Stripes came out too, and I was like, remember when they first said that him and Meg were brother and sister, or that's like the persona that they put out, but they were married at the time.
What?
Yeah, they were married for like 5 years, maybe.
They were pretending they were brother and sister?
They said they were brother and sister.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about music.
He took his name. He took her name. I think they divorced, and then I don't know if that was at the same time as the. But they ended up being divorced and still being able to be really close. I think they realized that we're not really like husband and wife, we're more like brother and sister. So they just started using that as, you know, he has some genius of his marketing and image and branding and stuff, and that was one of it. Like, for people convinced, I remember thinking like, they're brother and sister, and then find out later, no, they actually.
I was like, mind blown.
Took her name.
Like they were the White Stripes from 97 to 2011, and they were married from 96 to 2000. So they must have.
Oh yeah.
They were married at some point during that time, and then it came out later that they got divorced or whatever. But yeah. I remember I bought that CD too. I loved it.
What do the White Stripes sing? Because I don't really know much about the White Stripes. I know that they're iconic in a lot of people's minds. They're one of the bands you go to when you talk about great music.
Yeah.
What would I know from them?
I think
the first hit was "Fell in Love with a Girl." That was a big, their big one. I think
that was
Michelle
on
Gondry did the
White Blood Cells album.
music video for. But Seven Nation Army is they're just big. Like when I was living over in Ireland, I did some traveling around, and every rowdy sporting event or an Oktoberfest in Munich or wherever, anywhere you go, people sing that song. They sing that riff everywhere. It's become a stadium anthem all over Europe. And it's just like how that must feel. Like, you know, you're talking about pride and stuff. Like as an artist, you create this thing, and then it becomes a sensation where it's on. Everyone knows it. You know, it's like John Williams, where he probably goes around. Everyone can sing this, Darth Vader theme song.
Right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be the. I think Seven Nation Army is probably their really, really big one.
I've heard of that one.
Other great ones.
Yeah, that's probably their most. That's the one that you would probably know.
Biscuit, I think it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because talking with you right now, you seem like a very mellow, kind of chill dude. But then listening to your music, it's like a whole nother persona is unleashed when you actually start creating music. It seems like a totally different person. I mean, your voice, how animated you seem to be in with all your songs and stuff, it just seems like a complete contrast.
Yeah, and that's part of why I used like a moniker, or used like an artist name, is because I didn't want to. I don't know, like I felt like it is an escape for me as an artist to be able to kind of just like I'd become kind of dependent on the music now, like just working through my own emotional and spiritual and physical health, with just being able to do that and play the music. And part of it is I can kind of separate myself from it, because it's like, well, Cullah is, and then it gets confusing of, okay, well, I'm Cullah, but it's called me, and this.
Right.
So there is a persona. Like I like to think that playing music and performing it, especially, but like playing it and singing the songs and being able to switch from a hip hop persona to a blues persona to a bluegrass or folk or electronic. Like these are all different kind of different channelings of kind of feelings and understandings and emotions that I have. And so it's kind of nice to be able to separate it a little bit and be like, okay, well, these are kind of just channels or personas, and I don't really know if that's healthy or if it's good. This just kind of became a natural thing that I tried to do. And
there is no normal, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. We don't believe
we don't like normal.
It sounds like it's. I don't see how it could be a bad thing. It sounds very therapeutic.
Yeah, it sounds like an outlet, or just being able to be who you want to be.
If you didn't have the music, you'd express yourself by punching Chicago Bears fans or something else,
or hacking the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, I think I definitely feel like that's a good thing. That sounds very therapeutic and like Frenzy said, an outlet for you to express yourself, and being able to do it with kind of like a separate persona is I think a good way to do it too, because you can separate yourself from your daily life, from the McCullah to Cullah. It's like you're like Clark Kent and Superman, dude.
Yeah.
And I always think about it, like maybe in the future, I'm not against maybe new personas, or I think Cullah's going to be around for a while, but
I sure hope so.
I'm totally not against maybe a new project or a new when the time comes, it feels right. Mm-hmm. Right now I know I'm definitely keeping Cullah moving forward, and and I think maybe it's at a point in my life when I can afford to do it, or if I when the timing is all nice and stuff, start new projects, or maybe working with other people and stuff. Those are things that I hope to achieve, and whether it's Cullah and this or Cullah and this, or if it's a totally different project, I'm all for that. I'm trying not to, there's definitely a huge level of attachment. But even dropping, when there's been an evolution. Like I was MC Cullah, and then I dropped the MC. It was just confusing. Like,
Yeah.
People would just be confused.
Well, you're
just like the name.
right, but
Online, people really search it. There's a space in between, and like, my software-oriented mind, like being like, okay, that's gonna mess up Google page rank.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's cool too to like be open to being able to evolve and collaborate and grow and change things up and obviously like if you feel like that's the right move to do, then you will. But I don't know. But there's a lot of artists that stay the same too their whole career, But I guess you'll find out.
That's natural.
What works for you?
I think that evolution's natural. You probably listen to any artist, the songs or whatnot that they put out at the beginning of their career to their most recent stuff. And
oh yeah, like my most favorite band ever is Nirvana, and there's albums where I'm like, they're fine. Like they're fine. I mean, I like them no matter what, but obviously I have like my favorites. In Utero was recorded in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, so that one like holds a special place for me. It's like this like little recording studio that's super apparently well known, but it's just like a tiny little, basically like a cabin in the woods, and they recorded it like in 2 days or something crazy.
Yeah, like Cullah up in the deer shed.
In the deer shed, yeah. Listening
screaming.
to the cows screaming. So I feel like you're always going to have ones that maybe people like more, but that's the best thing about music is that everyone's entitled to their own opinion and they like what they like, and
right.
That's how it goes.
You keep that music coming,
That's
brother.
right.
You keep that music coming, and
That's
we're
why I
going
like
to keep
moving from
listening.
That's why what?
That's the genre.
Yeah, switching. Yeah,
Switch
absolutely.
genres from one album to the other. And,
Yeah.
you say, well, if you don't like this one, there'll be another one next year, or maybe you like the one last year.
Or 2 years ago, or the secret one, whatever.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. You keep that music coming, brother, and we'll keep listening. Guarantee it.
Yeah, plus
I
the
know, I
fact
appreciate
that you're able to switch the genres around and mix and match and have the different ones going on, so. And I will be a listener for life no matter what genre you pick.
Yeah, you definitely have us as fans, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about time to wrap this thing up, huh?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you and your music? Beautiful and badass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can find it. You can foremost go to my website, which will have everything there, and you can download all high quality, and you can download the stems, like I mentioned, or see pictures and see more of me at Cullah.com, CULLAH.com, or you can just look it up on Spotify or iTunes or Google or Amazon or Bandcamp, or it's pretty much in all the major streaming platforms, or on YouTube. Yeah,
You're on iHeartRadio too, aren't you? Yeah.
I heard you.
Right, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You didn't even know that. Sweet. And then you're on. You have a Facebook page, Cullah Music, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
My
Instagram.
Twitter and Facebook are both Cullah Music, and Instagram as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to work on those. Social media is big part of what I'm trying to spend some time on this next year. So I would appreciate anyone who wants to like or follow or any of that.
Yeah.
Any of those.
For our listeners out there right now, I guarantee check out Cullah and his music, and you're gonna find some songs that you absolutely love.
Absolutely.
The dude is legitimately talented, and he's got a voice that you listen to his voice right now, and it sounds nothing like when he's laying down some tracks.
Yeah,
it sounds like a completely different person.
And if you're going to be in the Milwaukee area next weekend, they're going to have their LP release at I don't want to mess up this name. Is it Linneman's? Or Linneman's.
Yeah, that's right.
Linneman's.
Yeah, Linneman's.
Linneman's River West Inn in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I bet they have cheese curds there too.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
You're just a cheese curd junkie.
I am. I can't help it.
She's like mainlining cheese
Fried or
curds.
not fried.
Sorry, not sorry. That's awesome.
That one's from Wayawega.
Yeah, right? And then also, I'm going to be talking some trash with you when the Vikings play the Packers, so just heads up for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see who are the NFC champs this next year.
The Super Bowl is here, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's at our beautiful new stadium that kills a bunch of birds because they keep flying into the windows.
U.S. Bank, screw those birds. We don't need them.
Yeah,
Shouldn't have flown into the window. They're dumb.
Vikings don't need birds.
Yeah.
Birds need to fly around.
Unless the Ravens.
Don't be so dumb.
Yeah, the Ravens.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome. Well, Cullah, thank you so much for sharing your time with us this evening.
Yeah.
I know me and Frenzy have both been looking forward to this for months.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for asking, man. Yeah, it's been a great conversation. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, not only having me on, but from all the other guests and just curating it and helping enrich the community. That's amazing. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
The world needs to hear your music, brother.
Yes, they do.
Beautiful.
Well, I'll keep making it, so.
Good. We'll
Good.
keep listening.
Yep.
All right, my friend. You have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
sir.
night. Bye.
Boom. Tis outro time, Frenzy.
It is time for the outro.
Let's let the outro commence. That was our guest, the one, the only, Cullah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh my god, I love that dude. Love his music even more. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's something we've been waiting forward to for quite a while now.
Yes.
And it finally happened. And now we feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that we discovered his music just on a whim and then like fell in love with it right away and then
Now we
got to have him on the show. That's
Hell
amazing.
Yeah. It's one of the most beautiful things about this show. Mm-hmm. The awesome people that we get to have on, that we get to know and hear their stories and develop friendships with.
Yeah, and share their stories with you guys because they
Beautiful
have
thing.
good stories.
Yes. And listeners, check out Cullah and his music. I guarantee you will not disappoint. He's got like 9, 10, 11 albums.
10 albums, one secret
10,
album.
yeah, which you don't get to listen to.
But
We've already
we
been
do.
listening. Yup, haha. Stuck on that, listeners. Ain't for you. But there's 10 other albums full of badass music for you to enjoy and shove in your ear holes.
Yeah, and he's going to make like 60 more, so.
Yeah, he's going to be doing this thing till he can't physically strum a guitar anymore. Mm-hmm. So, yes. All right. What do we got coming up on the Sarge Approved podcast?
Well, on Friday we're going to be guests on
The DMV Sports Podcast with Austin
Wood. Yep.
Yes. And then we're taking off our week every month. We take a week off and we say, screw you guys. We're gonna take a break from the show. And
I'm going to sit on the couch and eat bonbons and watch
Yeah.
Beverly Hills 90210 because it's on Hulu right now.
It's so weird.
I've
that
been
you're
watching it.
that.
I've been watching it all week.
That's funny. I used to watch it when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, this has been our last episode for this week. But we do have a guest spot we're going to be doing on Friday. And then we're taking an entire week off, and we're going to be back at it on the 15th. Monday the 15th. May is Music Month, people, and we have some of our favorite musicians on this month. And that starts off again on the 15th with Heatbox, a Minnesota musician.
Yep. Native Minnesotan
Love it.
musician.
And one of our favorite songs of his is Bitches from the Milky Way.
It's badass.
Yeah, it is. We first heard that song at a comedy club.
Yep.
Where was that? Joke Joint?
Joke Joint.
Joke Joint. We heard that. They were playing it over the loudspeaker, and we're like, wow, this is badass. And looked it up, and we're like, oh, wow, this dude's from Minnesota. And then Frenzy went and got him on the podcast. Mm-hmm. So, looking forward to that. He's also got that song we played at the end of Darren Chase's episode. The pizza.
The pizza song.
I
Yeah.
can't remember what it was called, but it was about pizza.
It was perfect.
Because Darren Chase is a unofficial ambassador of Little Caesars.
Yeah, someday he's gonna have to take some photos with the crazy bread. That's gonna make it happen.
And then the next day on the 16th, we have actor Dean Napolitano. and you've seen him in all kinds of things. He's been in Transformers, and I can't remember what else, but he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and stand-up comedian.
And then, I'm looking forward to the 19th. Friday the 19th, we have, as our guest, Savannah M., the Savage Buddha.
MMA badass.
Female professional MMA fighter, and she is just wrecking chicks in the cage. And our guest host for that episode is going to be returning to the podcast, Daniele Bellelli.
Yep.
Historian, professor, podcaster, MMA martial arts expert. He's got a ton of different martial arts practices that he is experienced in, and he's going to help us facilitate the conversation with Savannah M, because those two are dating.
They're in love with each other. They love each other.
They're
They're super cute. I love it.
They are pretty adorable. They make a good couple. So Daniele Bellelli, the middle finger of the gods, and Savannah M, the Savage Buddha. Love it. Can't wait for that one. So yeah, and then we're not going to tell you the rest of the people we got coming on.
You have to wait.
You can wait. So you can find us on Twitter,
YouTube,
Facebook,
Instagram,
our website, SargeApproved.com.
Yep, SargeApproved.com.
You can find our episodes,
iTunes,
Spreaker,
Google Play Music,
Stitcher, and a bunch of other ones.
Yeah, a bunch of other ones.
We're on a ton of different podcast platforms. Just type in Sarge Approved and you'll find us. It's not that hard. Figure it out, people. Okay,
Let's
you
do
got
it.
fingers. You know how to spell. Just do it. Sarge Approved.
Yep.
You will find our luscious voices.
Our luscious voices.
Are they luscious? Well, yours might be.
Mine's not. No, mine is not.
So, anything else? You want to give some shout-outs?
Let's do a shout-out to Larry Roberts,
Yes, the
host
Readily-
of the podcast Readily Random.
Yes.
Good friend of ours.
Great friend, and he's got a great new show that he started. He's been getting some really good guests on there. So yeah, go check him out. Readily Random. He's got a badass website.
Yep.
You can find his show on Google Play Music. He's on Stitcher.
Is he on Podomatic too? No.
I'm not sure. But you'll find him. Go
He's
to
on
his-
Facebook too,
Yeah.
and his voice is basically like a big hug.
Yeah.
So he's
Like-
got a great voice.
Like listening to a hug. Love it.
Yeah.
Larry Roberts, freaking love you, Lair Bear.
Hi, Larry. Love you.
All right, and then you want to give a little shout out to Dee's D's.
Yeah,
still
let's
gotta
do
drop
Dee's D's.
Still got to drop her mini episode. It's not
Yeah.
done yet, but her nomination.
Yep, she's nominated for the Best Female Comedian for the Alabama Music Awards, which you can go online and vote for her. You actually have to vote for all of the other
There's a lot of categories. You
categories.
got to go through them all.
But she's worth it.
she is.
Just spend the 5 minutes and do it.
Just do it. It takes 5 minutes, people. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Just
and-
do it for Dee's D's.
Right. And
She'll appreciate it.
I got to sit down with her last week and chat about it, and we had a fun conversation. We're going to be posting that soon, too, and that'll have all the info as well. So
Yes.
make sure to check that bad boy out.
Beautiful. All right.
All right.
Anything else? We done? Let's
We're
wrap
done.
this thing up.
Yeah, it's done.
All right. We are going to play this episode out with a song by Cullah
Yes.
himself, our guest. And this song is called Bit by Bit. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, you guys. Bye.
Later, fuckers.
Let's pick it up. My voice gon' kiss you, if you tell you bit by bit to the very end. Your friends gon' need some sin, cause I'm out to beat them in. My sound gon' wreck you, punch you, pound you, check you, crunch you, deck you. Bada boom, 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 pow. We knock you right to the ground. You hear by my sound and you know I'm around. So that's fine and dandy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've lost my mind. Yeah, the mind's on fire. Yeah. Well, I've lost my mind. Yeah. Yeah, the mind's on fire. Yeah.